Dímelo mi gente, Marcucci here again by another video, and today we're going to be talking about Ondo Finance and an article that Reuters did about them. It says Ondo's approach to institutional grade tokenization. It is a really great article. We're going to go over it. Please, if you enjoy the video, leave a like, comment, subscribe if you're not done so already. So without further ado, let's get right into it. And this is what Adam the Bull had to say. He's the Chief Strategic Officer over there at Ondo. He says, if done right, tokenization enhances investor protection rather than eroding them. And the article basically identifies some problems with the poorly designed tokenization stocks and ETFs models that currently exist today. And I will say, just because these problems exist right now, that doesn't mean they can't get better and that tokenization is not the future. I'm all for tokenization. I think it is the future, but some platforms, this is what they fall short on. Lack of traditional investor rights and protections, unclear exposure to dividends, fragmented liquidity. So Ondo Global Markets solves these problems with tokenized shares that are fully backed and secured by U.S. stocks and ETFs held at U.S. registered broker-dealers with legally enforceable ownership rights, mirror the economic performance of the underlying asset, including dividends, and inherit liquid directly from traditional exchanges, enhancing rather than fragmenting market depth. So they write like an open letter to the World Federation of Exchanges that we're going to see sometime soon. But yeah, let's get into the article. The article is by Hannah Lang and Elizabeth Howcroft. They did a really good job with this article. I was laughing a lot. Really funny, some of the things that the people in the traditional financial system had to say, but we're going to get into that. So it starts by saying a race by crypto companies to sell tokens pegged to stocks is raising alarm bells among traditional financial firms and regulatory experts who warn that the fast-growing novel products pose risks to investors and market stability. Yeah, okay. But by the president's pro-crypto stance and his administration push for friendly regulations, the crypto industry is rushing to capitalize on a global surge in enthusiasm for the sector. So now they talk about all the different platforms that kind of already exist. So we have Robinhood, Gemini, Kraken are among those that have launched tokenized stocks in Europe, while Coinbase, Robinhood, and startup Denari are seeking approval to launch similar products in the United States. And the Nasdaq, meanwhile, last month became the first major exchange to propose offering tokenized shares. I don't know when the Nasdaq thing is going to happen, but hopefully it happens this year. I know with everything that the government has been shut down, I know this stuff has kind of slowed down compared to where I thought we were going to be. Hopefully that gets solved, but I think by the end of the year, if not the start of next year, we should see Nasdaq offering these tokenized shares. So the industry says tokenized shares are blockchain-based instruments that track traditional equities could revolutionize stock markets, and I think they should not say could. I'm saying will or should or is gonna happen, right? It's gonna revolutionize, and they even say it by allowing shares to be traded 24/7 and settled instantly, boosting liquidity and reducing transaction costs. Like, yes, actually, that could not revolutionize the stock market. It will revolutionize the stock market, and we already see it. Ondo does the 24/5, right? There's a lot of places that already do this, and it's really minimal. Like the transaction cost is minimal. I think it's going to revolutionize it, but it is what it is. And the combined value of tokenized public stocks geared toward retail investors as of September grew to $412 million compared to just a few $1 million 12 months ago, according to tokenization tracker RWA.XYZ, which we will see now, which the total value right now of all the tokenized stocks is $1.34 billion, over 173% up in the past 30 days. Monthly transfer volume is almost $500 million or more than $500 million. Monthly active addresses 32,000, up 34%, and holders 84,000, up 27%. The biggest one is actually Exodus, so that's probably why it's up so much. But the other ones that are big are Tesla or X stock by X stocks, the S&P 500 on Ondo, and the QQQ on Ondo too. So yeah, a lot of money, and a lot of money is going to be flowing in, right? This $1 billion is going to be eventually trillions of dollars. So record that and post it 5 years from now, maybe 10 years from now. I don't know when it's going to happen. I think it's going to be sooner rather than later. But Although many products are marketed like stocks, they rarely offer the same rights, disclosures, and protection as traditional equities. Instead, they more closely resemble riskier derivatives, according to a Reuters review of several products and interviews with a dozen industry executives and legal experts that increase the hazards for investors, while tokenization more broadly could undermine market integrity and fragmented liquidity if left unsupervised. Obviously, if left unsupervised, everything is just going to be the wild wild west. We don't want that. We want, obviously, good market structure and everyone getting the same rights as you would get with regular stocks. And before I continue, right, I just want to say they more closely resemble riskier derivatives. That's what this already is, right? If you own stock, you do not own the certificate, right? I saw actually a funny tweet. It was like some guy bought like a certificate for their granddaughter or for their daughter for Nvidia. So if you own that kind of stock, right? If you own the certificate, then yeah, you own the stock and yada yada yada. But if you own the stocks, like say on Robinhood or on any of these other major exchanges, Marty Party, and I've said this before, he says you don't own a single stock. The DTCC owns all the stock on the stock market worth 87.1 trillion. You are trading and own a proxy paper stock, a token stock. So, and he also says it here. Where is it? You don't own stock, you own a claim from your broker, and they just own a claim from the DTCC. You own two levels of derivatives when you buy stock. So, yeah, like when they say, "Oh, it's a derivative. Oh, it's this and that. Oh, it's just like a synthetic stock, whatever." That's what you own in majority of these places or on these like exchanges. You don't really own it. You just own something that says, "Oh, you're gonna get dividends and blah blah." We're gonna get a little bit into that later, but I just wanted to say that, right? This is going to change that, right? Tokenization is going to change that. You are going to own the underlying asset, right? No one can take it from you if it is in your wallet. Like, that's why I'm so bullish on this. You're buying exposure to these shares through creating some sort of synthetic instrument, says Diego Balon Osi, a partner at law firm Clifford Chance in London. A lot of the burden gets shifted on you to understand what exactly it is that you are buying. Yeah, if I'm an investor, I want that burden on me. I don't want it on someone else, and they could just freeze my account whenever they want, and I don't own the stock. So yeah, obviously it's gonna get shifted towards you. You run that risk. I don't want intermediaries. That's literally why crypto was started. Yeah, thank you for stating the obvious, Diego. But so a few companies have issued their own experimental stock tokens on the blockchain software that acts as a shared digital ledger. But most tokenized shares are pegged to public companies and issued by third parties like Ondo Global Markets and Denari. Some tokens are backed one-to-one by the underlying stock, while others provide economic exposure through derivatives. So the industry is divided over which regulation apply to stock tokens, and investor rights and protections vary. Often the products provide no ownership, and we already talked about that. Voting rights, and I want to talk about voting rights specifically. If you own a stock here in the United States, please let me know in the comment section if you actually have voted in any of these voting rights, right? It doesn't really matter. It's up to whatever the shareholders or the stockholders, the big guys or the big corporations have to say. Your vote is not really going to affect anything that's going to happen at Tesla or Nvidia. I mean, it should. I'm not saying it shouldn't, but the voting rights, yeah, whatever, cool, I guess, and traditional dividends. But Ondo does a really good job at that. Especially, I haven't seen Denari yet. I have to research Denari, and hopefully that is gonna start happening, right? Like I said at the beginning of the video, just because these, products or these, investor protection or investor rights aren't there now, that doesn't mean they're not gonna be there in the future. So rather than shunning it, we should be embracing it while creating counterparty risk exposure to the token issuer. For example, there are multiple tokens pegged to Nvidia and Tesla with a range of structures and terms of conditions. The fact that different tokenized offerings have different rights and different disclosures, that's a real big worry. Gabriel Oted, CEO of Denari, which offers one-to-one collateralization. So that I do agree, and I don't really know how to solve it other than maybe, when we get the market structure bill and we get more clarity on what can be tokenized, what cannot be tokenized, how to tokenize it, then we could don't have different like disclosures or different rights, but at the end of the day, whoever offers the best and better product is going to win this fight, or this, whatever innovation that's happening, right? So Robinhood in June launched trading in tokens pegged to public companies and said it plans to offer tokenized stock for private companies, which is really great. A lot of people don't have access to private companies, so that's really amazing. To promote the launch, it gave away tokens pegged to OpenAI. This is really funny. We're going to be going over it in just a second. These stocks are derivative contracts backed by Robinhood's ownership of funds units in a special purpose vehicle that holds OpenAI convertible notes according to its term and conditions. The announcement drew pushback from OpenAI, which said it is not blessed the offering. It also prompted scrutiny from Robinhood's European regulator. And of course, the European regulator is going to be against it and provide scrutiny. The United States innovates, China replicates, and the European Union just regulates. So yeah, I'm not really in tune with what the regulator is saying. I don't really care whatever happens in Europe. They're every single thing against innovation. So hopefully, is not too bad. But what they are talking about is that these OpenAI tokens are not OpenAI equity. We did not partner with Robinhood. We're not involved in this and do not endorse it. Any transfer of OpenAI equities requires our approval, and we did not approve this transfer. Please be careful. And Amit, which I really like his content, he says, for anyone freaking about this, it's not a big deal. OpenAI is pushing out a statement to be safe because they have to. All Robinhood did was establish a token that tracks the valuation of OpenAI on the private markets, similar to a token for all the other 200 public companies they offer. You're not literally buying shares into these companies, but shares are just certificates, and digital representation of these assets is all that matters. So yeah, obviously not that much of a big deal, but I will say the response from the general manager of Robinhood Crypto, it really is hilarious. He says, and this is Joan Kerbat, says the company clearly flags that its tokens are derivatives. Like this is the announcement. We're giving away the first private company stock tokens of OpenAI and SpaceX. If you're a Robinhood EU customer and you qualify, you're able to claim your tokens in-app until July 7th. And nowhere here does it say, oh, we're a derivative. So yeah, I just found that really hilarious, but without criticizing Robinhood just that much as of right now. So it is really positive that Robinhood is doing this, obviously, and it says it is just one step forward to be able to have the benefits of no longer having multiple days to settle. He added, while Robinhood is issuing public company tokens on the blockchain, it has not yet settled the trades on the blockchain, a spokesperson said, and Gemini declined to comment. So hopefully that changes. Hopefully, the trades start to settle on the blockchain. I think that's going to happen eventually. But I really don't know. And if it's going to be Robinhood, if it's going to be another platform, I really don't know either. But I just think it's just a future. And maybe 1 or 2, 3, 4, maybe 5, 10% is headed on the blockchain, which is going to be really, really positive. So in Europe, Robinhood, Kraken, and others operate under MiFID derivative rules. But some legal experts say that the law is insufficient to oversee the novel products. The president's crypto-friendly chair of the United States Securities of Exchange Commission, Paul Atkins, has indicated the agency plans to grant would-be issuers exemption from securities rule. That plan is facing opposition from powerful Wall Street players, including Citadel Securities. We're going to talk about this just in a little bit, and the Security Industry of Financial Markets Association, which says much major structural changes should go through a formal rule-making process. And I find this so hilarious coming from Citadel saying this, because they are nor short of, let's just say, lawsuits and market manipulation, allegedly, right? I don't want to get, nothing from this, but there was a class action lawsuit against Citadel Securities, in which it conspired to restrict trading in meme stocks like GameStop and AMC. They also helped out, they had a stake in Melvin Capital, I think it was. and they basically saved them and bailed them out, and as well as they had to pay a lot of fines from the SEC. This one specifically from the SEC, it says SEC charges Citadel Securities for violating order marking requirements of short sale regulations. Not only that, they also had a fine of $22 million for misleading clients about trade pricing, and a $3.5 million fine in 2028 for incorrect reporting of nearly 80 million trades. And listen, maybe the blockchain helps you guys, Citadel. Maybe if you use the blockchain and use AI and all these new technologies that are happening, you would not be able to mistake 80 million trades, but that's just me. So I just found it super hilarious that they're like, oh no, please, we need a formal rule making when you never play by the rules. It's so yeah. Just because the securities represented on the blockchain, that doesn't change the core investors' protection and other provisions that apply to securities, said Peter Ryan, head of international capital markets at SIFMA. And this is just so much. I don't want to talk bad about it, but what core protection happen when there's like trading houses with GME, AMC, and it's just clear manipulation. So I find this really hard to believe. And in a July letter to the SEC, Citadel Securities raised concerns that tokenization would siphon liquidity away from public markets. And what this means is that they're not going to be able to access that liquidity. That's just what it means. That they are scared that the liquidity that they had in the public markets is going to be siphoned away from them. And honestly, that's just a positive, in my opinion. Give the people what they want. Spokespeople from the SEC declined to comment, while Citadel Securities did not provide comment beyond that letter. So the last bit of thing I wanted to say is the World Federation of Exchanges recently urged regulators to crack down on tokenization, citing insufficient investor protections and liquidity fragmentation, although the group told Reuters it supports NASA proposal because it would treat tokens like traditional stocks. And that's what they want. They want it to be like traditional stocks. And I just find it so unbelievable that it says like the World Federation of Exchanges talk about liquidity fragmentation when literally there's 6 billion people that do not even have access to an exchange. Is just ludicrous. We talked about it in the video yesterday about Solana. There's about 800 million investors, right? And how many people are in this world? Like 6-7 billion people. So yeah, I find it really hard to believe this part, but they could believe whatever they want. Coinbase is also in talks with the SEC about launching tokenized securities that would similarly grant investors the full legal rights and benefit associated with conventional stocks, according to a source familiar with this matter. This would just be amazing, but if you live in New York, you probably won't be able to access this. I know, financial capital of the world, except when it comes to, financial people and regular people. Other issuers said that they hew closely to traditional securities, anti-money laundering, bankruptcy protections, and other rules. Mark Greenberg, Kraken's global head of consumers, said that the company offered the gold standard, including one-to-one collateralization and investor disclosures, while dismissing derivative offering as IOUs. And like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, done right, tokenization enhances investor protections rather than eroding them, said Ian DeBoot, Chief Strategic Officer at Ondo Finance. So yeah, let me know your thoughts about the video. I just think tokenization is the next big thing. The main big traditional finance players are just really scared that this is gonna fragment liquidity and remove liquidity. I don't really know what they're talking about. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. This was a longer video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you believe in tokenization. Let me know if you believe in Ondo and in the Ondo global markets. I am a believer, and I think it's just going to change and revolutionize the world. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you on the next one. Bye-bye.